There are two kinds of people in this world. Some only see what they want, and others only see the obstacles standing in their way. A story is often told about two lumberjacks who began chopping wood at the same exact time every morning. Every day they stopped at the same time as well. But one of them disappeared for an hour in the middle of the day, and despite taking that break, he always chopped more wood. After months of watching this, the other lumberjack finally asked, "How is this possible? We work the same hours. Where do you go for that 1 hour?" The man smiled and replied, "I go home and sharpen my axe." The truth is, life is not about how much you can do in a single day. It's about how far you can go over a lifetime. And if you never pause to sharpen your mind, your spirit and your focus, you burn out before you ever reach your full potential. I have 5 simple principles that can help you discover your spark and bring it to life. The first is this: go after what you want. A friend and I were running in Central Park where a race had just finished. At the end of the race, the organizers were giving out free bagels. I said, "Let's go get one." My friend looked at the long line and said, "The line is too long." I said, "But the bagels are free." He said, "I don't want to wait." I could only see the bagels. He could only see the line. That moment taught me something powerful. Some people only see the opportunity, and some only see the barrier. I simply walked between two people, reached into the box and grabbed 2 bagels. No one complained because you are allowed to go after what you want. You just cannot stop someone else from going after what they want. You don't have to follow everyone else's pathway. You can find your own. Just don't block anyone else's journey. Rule number 2 is to take care of each other. The Navy SEALs are among the toughest warriors on the planet. Someone once asked a SEAL instructor, "What kind of person makes it through the training?" He said, "I can't tell you who will make it, but I can tell you who won't." The big muscular guys who show up to prove their toughness, they don't make it. The ones who try to lead by delegating everything, they don't make it. The star athletes who've never been pushed to their emotional edge, they don't make it either. The people who survive are often skinny, shaking with fear, exhausted, and overwhelmed. But in their weakest moments, when they have nothing left physically or emotionally, they somehow find strength to help the person next to them. That is what makes someone a SEAL. The world is too difficult and too unpredictable to go through it alone. The moment you allow yourself to ask for help, you discover people who always wanted to support you. They just thought you didn't need them. And when you offer help first, you create a world where support flows naturally. Lesson 3 comes from Nelson Mandela, who is universally admired as one of the greatest leaders in history. Mandela once said he learned leadership from watching his father, a tribal chief, conduct meetings. He remembered 2 things. The elders always sat in a circle, and his father was always the last to speak. Leaders spend their lives being told to listen, but true listening means holding back your opinions until everyone else has shared theirs. It makes people feel heard and respected, and it gives you the chance to understand every perspective before speaking. The challenge is to sit still, not nodding yes or no, asking only questions to understand, not to influence. Being the last to speak is harder than it sounds, but it changes everything about how you lead. The next lesson comes from the 18th century, when thousands of women died from childbirth. Doctors at that time prided themselves on science, performing autopsies in the morning and delivering babies in the afternoon without washing their hands. For decades, nobody believed that they themselves were the cause. When they finally accepted responsibility and sterilized their tools, the deaths almost disappeared. The lesson is clear: sometimes you are the problem. You are allowed to take credit when you succeed, but you must also take responsibility when you fail. The two must always stay in balance. I once met a barista named Noah at the Four Seasons Hotel in Las Vegas. He was cheerful, relaxed, and genuinely happy to serve people. When I asked him why he loved his job, he said, "Because my managers constantly check on me. They ask if I need anything. They help me do my job better. Not just my manager, any manager." Then he said something revealing. "I also work at another hotel. There the managers watch to catch us doing something wrong. I keep my head down, stay quiet, and just try to get through the day." The difference wasn't the place, it was the leadership. Create the right environment and people will shine. Create the wrong one, and even good people will hide their light. Another story: a former Undersecretary of Defense once stood on stage with a simple styrofoam cup. He explained that the year before, When he still held his high-ranking position, he was flown first class, greeted at the airport, escorted everywhere, and handed coffee in a beautiful ceramic mug. Now that he no longer held that title, he flew economy, checked himself in, took a taxi, and poured his own coffee into a styrofoam cup. His message was simple: the perks were never meant for him. They were meant for the position. No matter how successful you become, never forget that you always deserve the styrofoam cup. Accept the perks with gratitude, but never believe they define who you are. We often tell young people they are the future leaders, yet we place them in environments where empathy is missing. We blame them for being stressed, insecure, or addicted to technology, when in reality, we created the world they are growing up in. They have been raised in an Instagram-filtered reality, where everyone pretends to be strong even when they're breaking inside. Social media triggers dopamine, the same chemical, released by smoking or gambling, and many young people have become dependent on it before developing real coping skills. As they grow older, they struggle to form deep, meaningful relationships because they never practice them. When stress shows up, they turn to their phones instead of people. I believe loving your work is not a privilege, it is a right. It shouldn't be rare. It shouldn't be treated like winning a lottery. Every person deserves to wake up and say, I love what I do. A workplace should be a place where people feel safe to express themselves, where feedback is given with care, where leaders value people more than numbers. When people feel protected and valued, they offer their full effort, their passion, their loyalty, their creativity, their heart. Working hard for something you don't care about is called stress. Working hard for something you love is called passion. For more motivational videos like this, subscribe to the Daily Uplift. Thanks for watching.